What's up, guys? Welcome to another Inside Snoop podcast. So this is episode 5. So we've really got this ball rolling now. So welcome to Justin again. How are you doing, buddy?
Good, man. Yeah, episode 5 already. It's kind of funny how when we talk about this a lot, where it's like one huge thing within the supplement industry, I think that's lacking is we meet a lot. You and I work with a lot of brand owners and other retailers, a lot of young people,
Yeah.
and I would say that one of the biggest fixable issues that I see with everyone is consistency.
Yeah, 100%.
Everyone just gets like super excited and they do all kinds of crazy stuff for like one day, and then they feel like the next day they're like, oh well, that didn't work out the way I thought it was. They can't do it day in, day out. And even
Yeah.
something like committing to a weekly, like how many people do you know that were like, I'm gonna start a podcast, and me and my buddies, we have so much cool shit to talk
Yeah.
about, and then you do like 14 of them like in a week, and then you're done.
Yeah, literally,
Then
yeah.
you don't do them anymore. It's
Yeah,
like
yeah. We've seen,
consistency, man.
I was speaking to a guy recently and he was, oh no, sorry, no, it wasn't. I was discussing with another guy about somebody else. I'd seen someone on Instagram and he runs, I think it's mainly an online store. And he was doing a story and he put a story up saying, sorry, I had to take some time off social media due to, what was it? I can't remember what it was. Something along the lines of that he'd been awake till midnight replying to messages. And I just felt like saying, that's your job. Like, that is what you're meant to do.
Right.
So
Yeah.
how is that? Like, for me being up until 1 a.m. in the morning replying to messages is very, very normal. Like,
Yeah.
do you know what I mean? And that's what you're saying, consistency. People will only do it for a short time before they get fed up of it and they don't want to carry it on. Do you know what I mean?
Yep. Yeah, and it was kind of one of those things that I was having this conversation with Chris Waldrum. We do a Friday um, Instagram live together every week. We have a couple drinks and we don't talk
Yeah.
really about anything. Like we just hang out, right?
Yeah.
And people love it. And part of it is what I told him. What I like about it so much is when people fall in love with this fantasy of starting your own business, especially in the supplement industry, you don't realize how much work it is, right?
Yeah.
You go from people always just like, well, I don't want to work a 9 to 5 because it's like, well, when you get into this, it's from whenever you wake up until
Yeah.
whenever you close your eyes. That's just the way things go. And if you
Yeah.
don't want that, then because the tough part about these days is everybody has access to doing things like this. So someone out there is doing this.
Yeah.
Like if you're asleep, I'm going to be working.
Yeah, exactly.
So
Yeah.
you don't have a choice. Like if you get into this, you don't have like, oh well, I just don't feel like it today. It's like, well,
Yeah.
good luck with that.
You lose.
But
Yeah.
you have, right. But you have. So what I was going to get at with the whole thing with Chris is, it's kind of like doing these podcasts and stuff. It's like, yes, it's still you're helping your brand. You're getting out there. You're talking. It's always good. But it's also a point in time of the week where you just can sort of stop for a second.
Yeah.
And just do, because the whole rest of the day, man, is just a fuck. It's just
Yeah, I
a
agree.
shit show of.
Yeah.
You never really know, and you're never, you wake up in the morning, like we have a lot of clients and stuff like that. You don't know what's going to happen with them. I mean, we
No.
have people that, if you're on Amazon, suddenly you get delisted. We had a client of ours get his entire website shut down. We woke up in the morning and I'm like, holy shit, like what,
Yeah.
and so you're trying to figure that out. It's like, man, if you don't want that life, man, stick to your 9 to 5, and you better figure out a way to be happy with it.
Yeah. That was what you just said then was that was Sean, right?
Yeah, Sean had
Yeah.
that happen. That was
That
mortifying.
that's bad as that. Like when I seen that, like my heart sank for him because like that is something you never want to happen. And funnily enough, we were thinking of moving to Shopify. And soon as I seen that, I was like, you know what? Nah, let's just take a step back, man.
Right?
Yeah.
And the thing about that was too is I know, so right before that, we had started working with Sean a while before that, and he Sean's good, and so it was really a good opportunity for us. He's already doing a good job, but literally like the day before, we were just talking about, like, I mean, he was hitting a record month after
Yeah.
month after month, and just things are just, and then you wake up and everything gets pulled out from under you. But luckily, what you always have to do is you don't ever want to, like, you don't want to like prepare for, the doomsday scenario, but
Yeah,
you have to have a part of the conversation. I mean, anybody can have fun and enjoy business and come up with things when things are going good, but you have to know that stuff is, especially in the supplement industry, payment authorizers and things
yeah,
like
yeah,
that. They don't like. I mean, it's all high risk stuff. It's like if you want to get into the supplement game, you got to know that going in that
yeah,
um, this is kind of a dangerous game to play. And people are just like,
definitely.
oh, I can make a cool formula. Like nobody gives a shit about your pre workout.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
what are you gonna do when that happens?
yeah.
When the payment processor pulls you or PayPal kicks you off their site or doesn't allow you there. I'm like, people don't think about that stuff though.
Exactly. No, they don't. And we have had it recently with a few retailers over here have been putting. I don't know if it is an American thing or not, but Klarna. Do you guys know
Clock?
Klarna? No. So
No.
it's a payment provider that does monthly installments.
Okay.
So you can pay, I don't know, in three separate parts just for a supplement. Now, for me, it's always been something where I've said I don't want to do it because
Yeah.
a supplement's a supplement, man. Like, if you're wanting to take out some debt, that's realistically that is debt. That's money that you shouldn't be spending. This is a supplement. It's not like you're buying your food shopping or whatever. So for me, I've always been a bit hesitant. I'm not going to go against guys that are doing it and say that's bad. But for me personally, it doesn't feel right. And recently, a few guys have done it, and they've then gone on to, so they've put it on the site, people have paid, and then Klarna have gone, hold on a second, what are you guys selling? And they've literally gone through the whole website and said, hold on, we're not happy with this, not happy with that, we're taking your money. Just crazy stuff, man. But people don't think, they think it's just going to be fine. So then they lost that money. So
That's a good topic because we've actually had that conversation a lot. We have it's called Sezzle or like Afterpay.
yeah, that's it.
That's what we
Yeah.
have over here,
Yeah.
right? And there's a lot. I mean, we've had that conversation amongst like the group and stuff like that, and you hear totally different opinions on it because, right, just from like a morality standpoint, I was like, I'm like, would you really want to take a payment plan out for some supplements? Like, just, but I mean, at the same time, if you're a business owner, but they really get crushed on percentages and stuff like that, and that it goes back to again like what you and I, and now you have your own line. These things firsthand. You start a supplement company, and you're like, cool, I've got a cool formula, but all this stuff that you don't know about that costs you money.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, and that's what we constantly see. That we see the mistakes are made because a person will have a job.
Yeah.
And they don't like their job. Like if I had $1 for every time I heard this story, man, I could just have my own island somewhere. But everyone says they're like, well, I don't like my 9 to 5. Okay, so I've always liked supplements. I know how to make a cool formula. Yeah, you and like 10 million other people that I've talked to. Like, congratulations, you're not unique. So they go, I can get up and running with a manufacturer, and my formula will cost me this. It's going to be so cool. It's going to be so unique. And it's like, well, what about all the other stuff?
Yeah.
Like all these other costs. What about your payment processors? What are you going to do when they shut you down? What are you going to do? We always talk about it's all this other stuff. That's what trips people up. It's never but what people ultimately do is they pay for all this stuff out of their personal accounts because they didn't set aside money in their business account to cover this stuff. And they're like, oh shit, I just lost money this month. I sold all my product.
Yeah, and it's still lost money. Yeah.
Or you don't have enough money to get to the next higher ordering quantity, which unless you start taking ingredients out of your formula, how else are you going to get down? How else are you going to lower the cost of goods?
Exactly.
It's like once you're in there, it's really hard to do, and you have to you just have to order more. Like that's really the only way when the formula comes into it, how you're going to lower your costs. And people are like, and especially if you have something like a pre-workout, people don't buy pre-workouts more than once very often.
No, not very often. No.
People are like, oh, I sold, man, everyone got excited for this pre, and then what?
Exactly.
Like, shit, I don't have enough money to order the next higher quantity.
Yeah.
And now no one's buying it the second time around.
Yeah.
And if like I said, that story, I've just heard it so many times. It's like, and you just see people just every day. There's just the same fantasy sort of coming into it. It's like,
exactly, yeah. We've had tons, man. But honestly, we've had so many startup online companies in the past, I'd probably say we've had the most trade accounts join up with us to get obviously the stuff we sell. We've had like I'm not even joking, like a ridiculous amount. Every day I'll get at least 3 to 5 inquiries of people wanting to start up, and I'm like, do you have a company registration number? No. Right, well then you're not a business, so how can I give you a trade account? And they'll be like, oh, well, I am a business. I've just not done a website. I've not done a registration on the company's house. I've not got this. I've not got that. I'm like, well, what are you? You're just a person. Which really annoys me, because for me, like, it took a lot for me to learn what actual business was. I've never been into business. I've never done anything like that. And I've had to learn as I've gone along the way. And these people are just trying to, like, push on and think they can just copy the same thing and do it well. And I had one guy, so a few of our customers in general have just gone and started exactly the same thing as us, but they were like our regular customers. And for me, it's kind of a bit like, it doesn't annoy me, but I'm a bit like, why? Like, why are you doing that? Because, like, what are you going to do? How are you going to do the same as us when you're still working 9 to 5? I just don't get it. You said it
perfectly.
Yeah, I don't get it.
You said it perfectly. I think you just summed it up perfectly. So what happens is, and that's like why we decided to start doing what we're doing, because you don't know, like, it's shocking to me. Like, we've started lots of companies here, lots of LLCs. It is so easy to do this in America. Like, sometimes you finish up, like, registering your company and you're like, man, did I even do that right?
Yeah.
No one sends you anything official. It's not like a big deal. Like, you can start a company and it takes 30 seconds.
Oh yeah.
If you just pay them a fee, you've got a company. So then what? Exactly like what you said. There's no playbook for this. So you're just learning as you go. So what do companies do? You look at what somebody else is doing. And you try to follow them. But once you do that, you're already screwed. Because then they are the highest point you can go. Whoever you're copying off of is. And you're never going to be able to compete with them because they're already doing it better than you did, because they learned already. So you're never going to be able to catch up. And it is just the same. That's why you just see companies just getting spit out left and right. And like, I had someone this morning had asked me a question, because I try to watch as many of your questions. And boy, you get a lot of best questions.
Yeah, I do.
Which I get, but that's the thing about retailers. It's maybe a little easier to answer those questions because you're going to want to talk about what you sell.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Whereas people ask me, I'm like, well, there's, I have the whole supplement world at my disposal. So, But a question someone had asked me, they're like, well, and this person I think is going to be really successful with this if we are able to work together with them. But it's like, I was thinking about creating an energy shot type product, but I think I can come up with something really unique. And I was like, that's cool. That's a great thought. But I was like, does anybody care? Like, is the energy shot market begging for something unique?
Right. Okay.
Like, are you going to get into, so take people that take energy shots are not people that think deeply about, because you realize you're paying $3 or $4 for a bunch of caffeine. And anybody that knows anything about ingredients is not going to do that.
So you're talking more about the like little shots rather than the energy cans, yeah?
Right, like a 5-hour energy type thing.
Yeah.
Or even, use energy drinks too. Like, if you were going to create an energy drink company with the expense, the investment, and nobody knows who you are, and you're like, okay, I'm going to create something really cool and unique. The people that buy that stuff don't care about cool and unique, man. They just want some caffeine. And they want to get that feel, because the people that care about cool and unique stuff don't usually buy that. They'll buy a pre-workout or something like that. So it's like, knowing people always have these really cool ideas that, I'm going to bring something unique. It's like, well, does the market want something unique?
Yeah, like, I agree. I think as an energy drink, I drink energy drinks a lot. And as a person that does that, I would be a good person to answer this. And I think that, for me, as long as it tastes good and I know I'm going to get a tiny kick, like, realistically, I don't really get a kick from an energy drink at all. I just like the taste. I know I'm drinking something in the morning that probably is perking me up a bit. I know I probably shouldn't be, is more the thing. But at the same time, it is all taste, price, and like, if someone came to me with a can that had tons of nootropics in and adaptogens or whatever, I'd be like, well, for a start, that's going to taste disgusting. Secondly,
More
it's
expensive.
going to cost a lot, surely.
Yeah.
Do I really want that? Probably not.
Let's talk about, like, let's use the same example for protein powders. Like, how many companies have we seen totally fall on their face? Good companies with trying to bring protein powders that are and they add,
Velocitol.
velocitol and digestive enzymes and all this other stuff. Nobody gives a shit about that. Why would they switch from a company that makes a great tasting, say, isolate or whatever? Already, you have these companies that are pumping, and those companies order huge quantities so they can keep their costs down. So why would someone? I mean, even myself, like exactly what you're saying. Why would I? I'm not going to pay extra to have velocitol on my whey protein. First of all, especially because I don't even know that it helps.
Yeah.
Like we know what it does for 6 grams of protein, but we don't know what it does for 25. So there's no I see these companies and I'm just like, man, why are you coming out with an expensive protein powder? Nobody wants that shit.
Yeah.
And it's like same thing with an energy drink. Why would you? I appreciate certain companies adding some uniqueness to it.
Yeah.
But really doesn't matter. I mean,
I don't think so. I think, like you say, we have a protein powder right now we're selling like $450 a month, which is a hell of a lot just for a protein powder for us. And we've never ordered protein by the pallet. And from now on, we've had to order 2 pallets at a time. That's every 2 weeks. And all it is one of the cheapest ones you can get that tastes delicious. It even has like skimmed milk powder in it and stuff. Like it's not a good quality. It's just a blend. And we can't keep it in stock. We can't. And I have companies coming to me. I spoke to JP from Trained by JP the other day, and he said to me, how can I get a protein that's going to sell as well as that? And I said, well, basically, you would have to copy it because they have hit the nail on the head where everybody wants it because it tastes so good. I've not had one bad review. I've not had one, literally one.
And then exactly what you're talking about. So you take a company, Trained by JP makes some pretty decent stuff from what I've seen. I don't know much about them, but I see. So even them, so they're a company that's been around. What are they going to? They're going to copy somebody else. So you're already playing from behind.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So it's crazy to me. Like, the protein thing for me, the only reason why companies make a protein powder, I'm fully convinced, is because they think that it's cool to have a protein powder.
Yeah.
That's it. Because they're like, okay, we have your dedicated group of people. Because if you've ever noticed, and one thing that I know we go through all the time is, I'm like, I always will talk to our customers, and you take your customers' feedback, of course, seriously. But at the end of the day, like, I'm not going to create a protein powder because the customers are like, hey, we want a protein powder. If it doesn't make sense for me financially, then I'm not going to make one.
Exactly.
Like, company owners fall into this trap, especially small ones, because they are so attached to their early adopters that they let the early adopters dictate their business plans because they want to keep them happy. And that's a great thought, but that is a death sentence for some of these small brands, because it's like, if it doesn't make sense for you financially and part of your plan, stick to the plan. We go through this with companies all the time. They want to do things for these people because you feel loyalty to them, and I get that, but it's like, you can't sell your pre-workout to more than the 100 people that you have. So why are you making a protein powder where you're not going to make any money on it? That makes no sense. Like, it's just because you feel a sense of loyalty to them. And
I think protein is the final piece to the puzzle to kind of try and keep a customer base in, because let's say the average person buys a tub of protein every month. Like you say, if they're already buying the pre and the pump or whatever, let's try and secure them a little bit further and get them to buy the protein. Exactly. I don't think you should ever really start with one. I don't really think it's ever something that's going to make you money, as we all know. But to touch on a bit ago when we were talking about the...
I kind of went on one there a little bit.
No, we both did. And I was trying to think back because there was 2 points I wanted to say, and then we both kind of moved this way, and I was like, oh, fuck, what was it? The 2 things were, so the first thing was, so for example, with these companies that have signed up to us to get the pricing from us, and I realised what a few of them were trying to do, and they didn't understand the fact that MAP, keeping pricing at a certain place, and I will police that to the point where I'll not give you stock if you try and undercut me. Why am I going to let you do that? I'm not going to let you do that. So anyway, so I realised a few of these companies were listing it on the website and they were listing it cheaper than us. And I'm like, right, okay, so basically you're going to buy from me and your USP is going to get you into businesses selling it cheaper than me. Well, that's not going to happen. So I messaged a few of them and I said, just to let you know, guys, you need to have it at our price or higher. I know you're not making enough money from doing it lower than me because I know what price I'm giving it to you at. So
Right.
for a start, that's not going to work for you. But then once you tell them that, I could kind of see the few that I'd told kind of got a bit stumped. And they're a bit like, right, I can't do that, so what do I do now?
Mm-hmm.
And that's where I think, because the thing is, I like these guys that are doing this. Like, don't get me wrong, they've all been lovely people, they've all supported my business and stuff. But I just think sometimes they might need a little bit of guidance to say, right, you can't undercut because it's not a thing. I'm not gonna, it's not gonna happen. What can you do to be different? If you can't think of anything, are you wasting your time? Are you wasting your money?
Mm-hmm.
But then the second thing was, I recently had my second consultation client, which I'm very proud of,
Nice.
come to me, and he basically said he actually was referred to me through another retailer. He'd gone to a retailer, he tried to get his products in, and this guy knows me quite well. He said, "Oh, go to Danny, he'll sort you out. Like, don't worry about it." So I had a chat with him the day. Lovely lad, absolutely really nice kid. And he said, "To be honest with you, Danny, I want a brand that people are going to love." He mentioned a few of the brands that he liked. And I said, that's fine, but as we spoke about before, I said, we need to put your spin on it, so let's give you your spin. What do you like?
Right. You have to break their heart a little bit.
Yeah, you do. Yeah, you literally do. And it's like, we can't just do that because that's not going to work for you, right? So let's figure something out. And I asked him, when we were designing the formula, I asked him what he was getting on his pre-workout at the moment. It was not a good pre-workout in the slightest. Well, no, it wasn't too bad, but anyway. He had arginine AAKG in, which I just said straight away, companies are going to turn you away from seeing that. So anyway, I'd asked him what his price was on his formula he was getting. And he told me the price, and I said, oh my God, like, dude, this is why you need someone to guide you, because this guy, I'm not even joking, they must be, I reckon I could get it made, the exact same formula, for half of what he was getting it at. And I was just like, dude, you are getting ripped the fuck off.
Yeah.
Like, it was the same price as ours, which has 3 to 4 patents in, which everyone knows are expensive, and as well as higher dosages in other regions and other expensive ingredients. And I was like, how the hell? Yes, my volume's slightly higher, but it wasn't a lot higher. And he was like, literally the same price. And I was like, oh my God, dude, like, I felt for the kid, and do you know what? I could tell in his voice that he goes, I'm actually really disappointed in myself because I've been getting ripped off.
You don't know.
Yeah.
You don't know unless someone tells you. That's one thing. You hit on a lot of points in there that I don't want to talk about. But there's like one thing when it comes to manufacturers, that's where, if you know what it costs. So like we've had manufacturers and we've had a lot of tough, testy conversations with manufacturers, because there's some that will flat out, they'll be like, you know what? They'll show us their list of what it costs them to get their raw ingredients.
Right. Okay.
And then they'll be like, this is what we charge up for our cut and all this other stuff. And it's like, now I'm not saying that all of our clients now have to go to that manufacturer, but if you want to know, that's important to some people where like, they'll be like, hey, you obviously can't share that with everyone else. Okay, cool. But at least you're sharing that information with us, so we can pass that along to our clients. Like, because there is all the time where we get quotes and we're like, where are you even coming up with this from? Like, do you think we're stupid? Like, there's no way that we're going to pay this.
Yeah.
You know what this costs. Like, you're fucking crazy. But we fortunately we don't get that very much, just because I think just people know us and they know that they can't do that. But dude, these people, there is no way that if you were just, a young, I don't want to say like a young person, but like if you're young getting into it and you call up a manufacturer, you give them all the power in the world.
Exactly. Yeah.
And you shouldn't. You're the customer. You're the one that should be holding all the cards.
Yeah.
They work for you. It's not the other way around.
Yeah.
But there's just not a lot of information sharing. And there's no way. That's like one thing with us is people aren't going to tell you that stuff. Like what you told that kid.
Exactly.
Unless you know. So it's good because we just see the same thing over and over again. You have to really beat people up. Like I think there's we constantly have this deer in headlights moment with our clients on the initial call, because they get really excited. They're like, oh, I have this cool formula and you guys are going to help me grow our brand. And really the first thing we sort of say is, okay, we don't care about your about your formula. Like, let's talk numbers, let's talk plans, let's talk goals, and see if your formula makes any sense. At the end of the day, can we even fit it in, kind of thing? And people are just like, it's like, well, it goes back to the thing, like, you can make the coolest product if you want. If you can't sell it to anybody, then who cares?
Who cares? Exactly, yeah. And what you just said then is quite, because, like with the whole, when you're speaking to people and constantly and helping them, like you said, that whole heartbreak moment. And for me, I'm a very positive guy. Like, I'm so positive on everything that, my parents will always say, you're way too positive, this is not going to work. And they'll sometimes pull me back. But then I find myself doing it to them, and I find it quite hard to do, because personally myself, I'm so positive that I don't want them to feel how it makes me feel. But you've got to tell them, because if you don't tell them, it's basically like if you have a girlfriend that you are with and you don't like her, it's like breaking her heart quicker is better than prolonging it and then breaking her heart down the line. And it's same for them guys, because they do have these great ideas, and then you tell them the ins and outs of the industry and how it works and how hard it will be to get into certain stores. And then they kind of go, right. And you can tell they've just pulled back. And they've kind of like just sat there and gone, right, I don't know what to say now. And it's not nice, but at the same time, it's got to be done.
But, too, and it's you can definitely weigh in on this, too, because so it doesn't mean you can't make a $20 formula. Like, we can still be successful with that. We have clients. We have clients that make formulas that are too expensive. Because when they come to you, they go, oh, well, I want to go like international retail. And you go, well, you can't because your formula is too expensive. So it's like, but just if you tell them that from the beginning, you can adjust. See, like, there's the one point that you made that I want to go back to that I think was really a heavy thing for people to understand is people get into wanting to start their own business or start their own supplement company. And you're like, okay, I'm going to be in retail, and I'll do direct to consumer, and I'll do Amazon. I want my product in all these different places. Yeah. And what you're not realizing is it's sort of like a product. Take some of these pre-workouts and products where we're going to do pump and focus and nootropics and all and these 1,000 things and energy, but none of it's done well.
Yeah.
It's all like, because you can't fit it all into the same product. And it's exactly like what I see supplement companies do all the time. It's like you're trying to do so many different things and you're not doing anything well.
Exactly. Yeah.
You're not retail ready. So you're not Amazon ready. You're just like dicking around a little bit. Like when you were talking about the, we're going to put our price on our website or whatever, lower than the price.
Yeah.
Well, if that's what you're going to do, if that's what you have to do, then you're not ready for retail. Like no matter how much you say you want to be in retail and how much you verbalize, I want to be in retail, you're not. Your actions don't represent that. So it's like you either get into retail and you focus on, like, I would much rather use a pump formula that just crushes pump. I don't want to use a pump formula, a pump nootropic energy thing that doesn't do anything very well, right? Because then it's just a waste of time. I'm not going to buy that product. So it's like exactly the same thing we see in the supplement industry all the time. It's like people want to be, you get so focused on being everywhere and you don't do anything, very well. And then you got nothing.
Yeah.
So like what we were talking about with like our one client that he reached out to you, and we tell him, we're like, look, if you want to make these crazy expensive formulas, we just have to go a different route. But we can crush that route.
Yeah.
And he is absolutely killing it. But you're not going to be able to go this direction based on
because
what you're doing
Yeah.
Unless you change things up a little bit. And if you're not willing to change it, that's totally cool. Just know that let's leave that over there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So let's not even worry about it. So don't try to be something that you're not.
Yeah, exactly. And the one guy that I've been speaking with recently, and he was really nice lad, and he was wanting to do thing, and I said to him, right, okay, so based on your brand? Do you want it to be something that you're mainly selling off your website? Do you want it to be something that you go into retail stores, or do you want it to be something that maybe going global? And he said to me that he wants to focus on getting it into retail stores. I said, right, well, we need to make sure your price is good enough for every single retail store that it makes sense to them to bring it on. And he's like, right, okay. I said, so now you've got two options. We're either going to go really, really good formula. We're going to put a lot into the branding, a lot into the marketing, and you're going to make hardly anything, but it's going to be everywhere in the UK. Mm-hmm. Or we pull it back. It's not going to be as great. It might not get anywhere, but you're going to make more money. I said, which one do you want to go down? And he said that he'd rather have the better product and make less money. And I said, right, that's fair. That's fair enough. At least you know that. And we set up to design the product. And he said, right, can we start with the pre-workout? I said, well, what are you aiming to get for the pre-workout? And he said, well, I want it to be everything. I want it to be amazing, everything. I said, well, that's impossible,
No. Why does everybody still want to make a pre-workout? Stop.
Exactly. Yeah, it's one of those things. And I said to him, okay, so if you were to take a pre as yourself, this because we're trying to put your spin on it, what do you want when you buy a product to take before the gym as a pre-workout? He said, I like energy and I like some really, really good focus. I said, okay, so let's keep it nootropic heavy with some stims. Let's get rid of everything else. And let's just keep it very simple, but make sure that it works in that area. Because at the end of the day, even if your formula is bang on, but you send it to those retailers to try, get some samples out to them, whatever, they try it and it does nothing, the formula means shit. And I said to him, let's make a formula that, yes, may look a little bit worse than what it could have been, but if it hits really well, they're going to try it and go, you know what, I don't know what this brand is, but the product is unreal. And then as long as we've nailed the price point, you're in. You're literally in there, and you can capitalise on that. And funnily enough, and he's gone along with it, and he says, you know what, I really appreciate it because I would have tried to do, everything the other way around, and it just wouldn't have worked. And it's also rewarding to see it because then they know that, and then even if they go off by themselves and end up doing things, they're going to do it right. So yeah, it's quite interesting to play around with things and see how people's minds work.
Yeah, I think, and that's the good thing is, think about what he saved himself just by, talking to you first, because it's like, even there's a lot, I would say that we probably end up working with maybe 10% of the people we talk to. That even might be high. Like, we really don't work with a lot of people that we actually talk to, but we always have an initial, it's at least an hour, sometimes 2 hours, sometimes 3 hours, conversation with someone that wants to get started. And the mind-blown response we get from people at the end of these conversations, like I said, there's people are like, well, is it good to encourage more and more brands? And we've talked, I don't want to say we talk people out, obviously it's going to be someone else's decision, but I know there's several people that decided not to make a brand after talking to us, just because we're going to tell you the honest to God truth about what you're getting yourself into. It's like, if you want to go a certain route, then everything has to fall into place. I know we keep talking about the same thing, but it goes back to what your retail thing is like. Yeah. Going back to our client that had approached you about carrying his products. His products are fucking monsters. Yeah. Right? They're everybody that uses them here loves them. They are better than most everything on the market here, even though we have a lot of strong products here. But so
yeah, exactly.
If you can't carry them because it doesn't work financially, what are you going to do? It's not charity. You're not going to carry them just because. And do people really? Is it worth it to you? Because there's sometimes where you'll take a little bit less of a hit, or you take a bigger hit, maybe to get in a brand that's in really high demand, just for, just keep people on your site and get more traffic and stuff like that. But if you're a new brand and nobody knows who you are, I don't know, man. I don't know. But it's people always ask me, Justin, when are you going to start your own line? When's your own stuff and stuff? And I'm like, my dog's pissed. I'm like, anyone that, I was like, I tell you one thing, I guarantee I will never make a pre-workout. Ever. I don't care if I probably will never come up with my own line. I don't see it ever happening, but I guarantee I will not make a pre-workout. Yeah. I promise you I will not make a pre-workout. It is just the shittiest, most boring, beaten to death. What are you even going to do at this point with a pre-workout? But everybody wants to make one because it's that's cool, but like, you know this too, like being in a retail and you have to explain to people, like we've talked to some people that are making pre-workouts and I'm like, look, this is going to sell once
Yeah.
because it's like really cool marketing and really cool. I was like, people are going to buy this once and they're never going to buy it again.
Yeah.
I guarantee you, because it doesn't have DMHA in it.
Yeah.
It doesn't have DMAA in it.
Yeah.
It's got the same shit in it that everybody else has got. It's going to give you some energy and some focus, just like every other product out there.
Yeah.
And it's like, what are you doing here? So I think there's just got to be. That's why I think it's cool about seeing this shift into like some of your products are really cool. Where instead of it being, because you need a pre-workout, like I get it, it's got to be, you want to make one part of the line, but like you guys immediately branched out into some of like some more health based.
Yeah.
You got some interest stuff. You've got that would be the route I would go. It's like,
yeah,
the pre-workout is cool, man, but nobody cares about the pre-workout.
No, exactly, yeah. And that's one thing we literally did is the first product we launched was like, to be honest with you, right now, I want to make it slightly better, but we started with our first product, Restore, for Foresight, and it was basically a sleep aid / cortisol type aid.
Exactly. Now, who says that's going to be my first? Everyone says I want a pre-workout, and then nobody buys it.
Yeah, no, exactly that. And I think it definitely worked in our favor and the first thing everyone said to me is, why are you not doing a pre-workout?
Because you know what a bad idea it is.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. And it really is, because it's so, as you say, it's so crowded. And I think I think once the staple names are there and they're doing very well, it's very hard to knock them off that spot. And I think unless you do, as you say, it's going to sell once people are going to try it, they're going to like it or they're not, either way. What I wanted to ask was, with Sean, did you guys work with him from the beginning, like before he opened the store, or was it after?
Sean was one of our first clients. He's had his store long before us.
Right.
We jumped on board with him, I would say, in the fall is when we started this, September, October. We probably started with Sean maybe like November-ish, which is one really cool thing about us is, I know like some of our clients, it's kind of like a hush-hush thing, but the people that we all started with from the beginning, like we got a bunch of people that were really excited about and jumped on board. They're all still with us. Like
right.
8, 9, 10 months later, which that's something that we're really proud of is like Will from Leviathan and Sean and a couple other people were like our initial like group, because we didn't want, you don't want to take on too much at the beginning, but they're all still with us, man. And that's something that we're super proud of, is that it's one thing to sort of get people going and get them started, but there's going to be things that pop up as you go along constantly.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Where, new things sort of come up, and the fact that they still all see, because there's 2 of us, so it's expensive to work with us. I mean, you're getting Prady's knowledge of business and e-commerce and scaling businesses is like, dude, he is a fucking machine.
Yeah.
Right? And then but then you have both of us with our differences, so it's going to be more expensive to have both of us. And the fact that people still see the value, day in, day out with us is something that we're really proud of. And that's why we don't take on a whole lot of clients. It has to be like a really good fit. But Sean was definitely one of our first. And Sean's awesome, man. He crushes it.
He's doing really well.
Not only that, but he went through they shut down his entire website, all that stuff. And he's had some other really bad issues come up business wise, but now, I mean, he's ready to have like another record month this month. He's just, that's just kind of the type of person he is. He's got a great business plan in place. He's smart. He knows numbers, and he's doing really, really good. It's a pleasure to see people, to be a part of that and help them. I mean, that's what it's all about. You see them be successful, and you're like, man, it's a rewarding feeling for sure. Yeah,
no, definitely, mate. I think you're doing a fantastic job with him, and I think, I don't know, like he seems to be doing really well. I always keep in touch, like try and keep on track of a few retail stores over there that I like, as I've mentioned before. But recently I put a post out and I said, kind of what type of content do you want to see more from us, just to kind of get a gauge, because when we've been so busy recently that I feel our content's slightly slid a bit, and I don't like that. For me, that's something I really don't like. It really gets to me. So I asked that, and a few people mentioned, a few of the guys that are really into the supplements, they'll all follow you for sure. They kind of mentioned they like the way that Tim at Natural Body does things. And I said, and at first I was a bit like, you know what, I do watch Tim fairly often. Not all the time, but fairly often. But sometimes I think his stories are very long, like it goes on for a long time. But I do tend to watch the majority of the time. And it started making me think, and I was like, you know what? It's a good idea because it's very, very consistent. You know, he puts the question box up in the morning. He then does the questions, only picks a few that he can answer in a bit more detail, give a bit more knowledge on, and then goes through the orders. And you know what? I used to do that quite a bit, and it did work well. And it's funny how you find yourself slipping off what you really should be doing. And that really frustrates me because it's something, like you said, consistency is so key. And I noticed that. And when these guys suggested that to me, I straight away went, yes, I'll do it. Like literally, I will tag Tim in the post and say, I'm copying exactly what Tim is doing now. Because
right?
he genuinely has created such a good job at doing that. And I think it's brilliant. And I think there's no one else in the UK doing it, so why not? So yeah, that's something I'm trying to do now.
It's hard to stick to, but you know what? And that's what's so funny about Tim's a friend of mine. I have a ton of respect for him. Like, it's funny because I've met him a few times. We've hung out, and like when we get and we start talking to each other, it's like he's exactly the same way, like in person. He's so smart.
Yeah.
But it's so like when we start talking, it's like we can't get words out fast enough, like when we're having conversations with each other. But what is so brilliant about what he does with that? Like you said, like good luck trying to copy that model, but you can do it, but it's hard.
Yeah.
So what he does is it handles two things with retailers. One is trust. So if he takes time out of his day to answer people's questions, he builds trust. That's what has taught me about like what I do every day is so much of what we do is built on trust. That is the biggest reason why we've been successful is people trust me.
Yeah.
So I can't. And but that's why, because you're taking time out of your day every day to try to help people.
Yeah.
And it takes a while to build that. But so not only is Tim building trust, which is huge for retailers, but when he shows, I mean, the first time I saw the flyby, I was like, that is brilliant because anytime, and you see it too, like you're in our private Facebook group, anytime someone shows products that they bought, people go buy it.
Yeah.
Because it's that social proof. And it's smart because you can tell, and I'm not saying that, I mean, there's strategic orders that I'm sure Natural Body Inc. uses when they pull orders to show on the flyby because when people go, what you want is like, when you release a product, social proof is a huge thing. Like a lot of people go, oh, I want that, but I'm going to wait to see if
someone buys it. Yeah.
Or if anybody else likes it. So not only is Tim doing the educational part and building trust, it's also the social proof that people are seeing that other people are buying those products. And, I mean, I do it all the time. Like, it happens to me. I'll watch Tim's flyby, and I'm like, fuck, I'm going to buy that.
Yeah.
Because you forget there's so much stuff out there, and then you see a product, you're like, oh, that's cool. Like, the worst thing ever is, I don't say the worst thing ever, but, like, I'll talk about an ingredient or a product or show something, and my wife will be like, well, what is that? Can we buy some? I'm like,
yeah, no, exactly.
I'm like, I social proof myself. Like, it costs me money when I do things like that, because then she gets excited about it. She's like, wait, what was that you were talking about? That sounded good. And I'm like, damn.
Yeah.
Like, it does sound good. Like, I'll go to, someone will ask me about, like, Morphogen's products sometimes. And he's got so many cool ones that I'll go to his website sometimes, like, as a refresher for a label. And every time I spend $100. Every time. Because I'm like, oh man, I forgot how cool it is.
Yeah.
Click.
Exactly. Yeah. No, I agree, and I think the social proof is a brilliant way. Like that word sums it up. I didn't know the word for it, but yeah, social proof is brilliant, and we've done it a lot with ours. Like when we used to do it in the past, we used to do it, and it's quite funny how you don't really realize it, but then orders start trickling in for the exact same things. And I think it's true that people want to see that, okay, you can talk a good game, you can talk exactly what it's meant to do, but are people actually buying this, or are you just chatting shit? And I think to see that other people like them, the normal customers are buying it, makes them want to buy it. And it's true. I 100% agree. And so yeah, I am going to give that a go. I've been doing it for the past. Well, I've done it. I did it today. Is the first day really. But I didn't have many orders to do. I only had 3. Not that we only had 3 orders, but I only had 3 at the time. So yeah, I'm going to try and do it a bit more like that.
It's tough too because there's like what you said. It's a fine line. It shocks me how many people. I never. It's funny too because I've never looked at like podcast views or my story views or like I don't pay any attention to metrics. Brady gets so pissed at me. He's like sometimes he's like, dude, we should know these things. I'm like, I still pay attention. I just do. I do what I do, and whatever happens kind of thing, and drives him nuts. But I think the other day I was going through and I was like, I can't believe how many people watch my stories, but they watch all of my stories.
Yeah.
Which just blows my mind. But like, where's that line that like I think like what you were touching on. When you do stuff like that, it's like, well, where's the balance? You know what I mean? Because like I was bitching the other day. I said, I sometimes I have to go through and I have to count all my stories.
Right.
Because once you go over 100, you start to lose ones from the beginning. And I really try not to do that. And I'm like, why doesn't Instagram like tell me how many stories I've used up? And I was like, well, they probably didn't think that some asshole would be out there doing 100+ stories every single day. Like they're like, okay, that applies to like 3 people, so we're not going to do that feature. But where's that balance? Like where, some people, if I click on someone's stories and I see that line, I'm like, well, I don't have time for this kind of thing. But if it's something that's beneficial for you to do, which my stories are for me, but also, so finding that balance of what's enough information that you can do it every day, and not lose people's attention, but you're still giving them enough information. That's one thing. Like Tim and I know when we start talking about something, we can talk about it for like 20 minutes.
Yeah.
And it just gets overwhelming for people, and it's like so you're constantly trying to remind yourself, like try to keep it as short as possible, but then how do you do that? So it's just
because my big thing was I always wondered how you managed to do questions every single day. So I would normally do a midweek and a weekend. So I would do 2 a week. And I was like, all right, I've got a good amount of questions. That's cool. And I'm like, how the fuck is Justin getting like my amount for twice a week? He's getting every day. And I'm like, is it just that people don't like me and they love him? But then I realized, because I was like, I had a look into it and I was like, right, okay, so I'm going to try this question box every day now. Let's see what happens. And it's so funny. I get exactly the same amount as if I just did it one day. So I can completely see how you can manage to do it now. And I find what I found quite good about it is I normally would sit and go, right, okay, Wednesday, I'm going to talk about adaptogens tonight. Now, 10% of my following might be interested in that, but they're probably not going to be because it's something I've wanted to bring up. Now, the best thing is with the question box, I thought it would become too repetitive for people that are like, oh, he's just answering questions again, what a wanker. But what they're actually thinking is, hold on a second, day to day, people's questions change. So one day, someone might walk past somewhere and go, you know what, I'm a bit out of breath. What could I do to help my cardio health? All right, I'll bang it in this question box. And it's funny because now I can actually tailor the content through question box to them. And I agree so much. Your business model in terms of doing that has proved it.
There's no reason. So what I would like, if you go back to the beginning of what I would do, it would be you're trying to guess what kind of content will resonate. And dude, you do content, you shoot videos, you edit shit, and nobody watches it and nobody cares. So what do? You get out there and you have to ask people, what do you want me to do? People don't know. People don't. You might get 2 or 3 people that give you an answer about what you should do. So I'm like, well, I haven't created my own content in like over a year. You know how much free time that allows you? Because I'm like, wait a minute. I don't know what people are thinking out there, but I know, and that's why so many brands follow me. Like if you would go down through like the people that follow me, there are so many brand owners. Brand owners and retailers and stuff like that, because then they like all we do is collect data, right? About customers. You're trying to get in your customers' heads. Well, if the customers are telling me what's in their heads every day, then there's your answer. Like,
no, very true.
So why you don't have to spend a ton of money trying to target them down the road when they're already telling me everything they need to know. So the amount of like I think it was Brady once said, he was like, man, he's like the value of what's in your brain for brand owners. He's like, have you ever considered like how valuable what you know is to these brands. And I hadn't at the time, and I was like, but then he started explaining, I was like, holy shit, because that's what they're trying to find out is what's on these people's minds.
Very true, yeah. It's very, very true. Because we had the UK guys from 5% Nutrition. So I know the UK like main guy, and he's always kind of been interested in our opinion. But obviously, like you say, we actually get kind of similar. Like we'll have a lot of brand owners watching, and I've had a few ask me, "Do you think this product would work?" And I'm like, "Why are you asking me, dude? Like it's your brand. Like you should know." But they don't. They want to know from someone who gets asked it a lot more regularly. Because even as a retail store, we will get asked way more than a brand would, because the brands are meant to just bring out the products, and that's kind of how it's meant to work. But the retail stores are like, right, what's the best version of this? As you see, I get those questions all the time. And I think, like you say, a lot of brand owners will also come to me and go, what product sells best for you? Like, what does it look like? And then they'll go away and like, oh, it looks like that. Right, okay, we'll do something similar. So I agree, 100%. I think that's very, very true.
Yeah, I didn't realize it at first, but then if you think about it, right, so I think people are gun shy at this point. They know that they're being lied to constantly. It's not that brands are, outright lying to people, but of course they're going to tell you that their stuff is the best, and they're going to promote, and they're going to tell you all the wonderful things that you do, and then you spend your $50 or $60 or whatever, and you're like, well, that didn't happen.
Yeah.
So you lose trust in these people because you're bombarded with it all day long. So if you can find someone like me or like some other people that don't have ties to brands, and you're like, okay, I can actually ask him, and he'll tell me what he really thinks. And then then there's a sort of a truth for everyone involved that sort of comes out there. So it was we stumbled on it, and it's been great for everyone. It's great. I mean, let's be honest though, at the same time, if it wasn't great for our business, I probably wouldn't do it every single day but it's great for us too. It's very rewarding for me. I get to, because man, that's the one thing about me. Like, I just can't every day get out into the supplement industry because it's just the same stuff over and over and over again.
Yeah.
I barely follow any brands on Instagram or anything because I don't care, man. It's the same. I already know what you're doing. It's the same stuff everybody else is doing. So I get to stay up on what people are thinking about, so it helps me. And then it helps brands and it helps people. So at the same time, so I totally stumbled on it, man.
Yeah, no, exactly. We've had it with we had a question. I don't know if you see my question. I got a question the other day. Was it a question or was it just a question? It might have been just on DM. Someone had asked me this question and it said, when you get in Redcon one's isotope back in?
I said that because I laughed.
Yeah. So this guy said to me, he goes, it's meant to be the best digestion by...
Yeah,
did you see that
question?
Yeah.
I think I responded to your story because I was like, that ion exchange way, man. I love that stuff.
Yeah, exactly, man. Yeah, and it's just like, the guy was saying to me, and he even messaged me in the DMs after, he goes, yeah, but it says on their website that, it's the best digesting protein. I said, yes, but if you are dairy intolerant, or if you are intolerant to certain ways, how is that going to help? Like, what does it have in it that is going to help? And I said, the funny thing for me is I had to move on to, like, other forms, like vegan proteins and things like that, to be able to secure my no super digestive enzyme blend inside it would have done a shit for me. Literally nothing.
No, and I get that question all the time. Like, what's the best protein for digestion? I was like, here, let's play a little game. Here's this protein, and then this protein, and then this protein, and this one. I was like, let's look at the ingredients, and if you can tell me what's different about them, and tell me how that's going to change your digestion in any way, shape, or form, then I would love to hear it.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like it's the same shit. It's all the same stuff. What are you trying to tell me? Or people are like, oh, what do you think about digestive enzymes and whey protein? I was like, it's like the most bioavailable thing like on the planet. I was like, if you want to put digestive enzymes in there, then go ahead. But
no, exactly.
You don't need to.
Exactly. Yeah. I think the one thing is that people tend to overcomplicate everything, and I'll get the question of when should I take creatine, for example? Well, just take it whenever. When should I take? What did I get recently? When should I take electrolytes? And I was like, well,
when you need them.
Whenever. Yeah, like I don't know. Like it's not even the fact that, like, I don't want to sound like I'm taking the piss out of these questions, but I think that there's just people want to make it so perfect like I always get the thing that always gets to me is I'll have some bodybuilder friends and stuff like that, and they'll say to me, I'll say, come on, let's go out for a meal. Like, let's just go have a meal. Let's go have some fun, whatever. No, I can't go off plan. But is that one meal going to really change you? Unless you are like 2 weeks out from a show, then don't get me wrong, that might make a bit of a difference. But for me, I just think everything's so overcomplicated. Let's simplify things. Let's be happier in ourselves then, because we're not thinking about things all the time. And then the better physique will come from that anyway.
Yeah, that's the biggest disconnect for me. I talk about this. I've actually been talking about this a lot lately. Is the 99% is always wanting to do. Actually, it's probably like 99.999% is always looking at the 0.0001%, trying to emulate that when it doesn't make any sense for them to do it. Like, I'll get people, they're like, well, what do you think about this fitness accessory or this new Under Armour gear that does this? And I'm like, it's fucking meaningless for what you're doing. Like, literally meaningless. It's a total waste of money. Like, and people are that they're taking something for kidney health and heart health and liver health and all that stuff. And I'm like, but you don't take any PEDs or anything like that. I was like, but that's fine if you want to do that. I was like, but do you have blood work that tells you that you need to? I was like, you have to understand that the people that are pushing this stuff and saying how much it's working are like doing the craziest shit to their bodies on a day-to-day basis. So if you want to do that, great. Yeah. But if you're not doing that, then just stop what you're doing. Stop trying to emulate where those little decisions, like not even the creatine matters, but some people are talking about, like I had someone ask me the question, what's the best pre-workout meal? Yeah. And when to take it. I was like, that is no offense. I was like, that is the craziest question ever. I'm like, my best pre-workout meal is nothing. I was like, your best pre-workout meal could be a 16-ounce steak and rice. Yeah, Pop-Tarts. I'm like, I don't know, right? Pop-Tarts could be it, absolutely. And if you tell people that, it's like, man. But it's just people overcomplicate things. That's why a lot of my answers are always, I'm like, I don't know. I was like, here's the facts. Go figure it out yourself. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and the one thing is, I get it quite a lot. Is what's the best creatine? And it's like creatine monohydrate has been researched the most. Go and take creatine monohydrate at 5 grams, and they'll be like, okay, but how do I know that it's the purest form or whatever? It's like, well, you're not gonna really know unless you're getting some type of report done. You're not gonna. Try it from one brand. If you're not feeling that you're getting stronger or whatever, then maybe that's not the one for you. But at the end of the day, it's cheap. It's not going to really, it's not going to really affect you in a negative way. So just try it. It's not going to be a huge difference between the most purist and the least purist. They're going to be very similar. Just buy a creatine. And sometimes they'll say to me, which one shall I get? And I go, okay, just go for the £10 one because it's the cheapest one. Why would you not? You're getting 100 servings for £10. Like, it's going to last you a long time. Oh, but what about that £50 one that looks really good? I'm like, but it's not much better. Do you know what I mean? Like, maybe not at all. Yeah, exactly, yeah. Like, maybe it has an addition of something in, which is great, but do you, for the training you're doing, really need that extra addition? Probably not. Yeah, I've had some questions like in DMs and stuff like that from people, and I've said this several times lately. I'm like, look, if someone, like, I don't know, if you take 4 grams of citrulline or 5 grams of citrulline, I'm like, look, if someone is going to tell me that they can tell me the difference between that, I was like, I'm going to have to say that I think they're full of it. Or it's like, I had someone ask me the other day about, well, I'm not feeling the benefits of creatine. Oh, yes, that's what it was. It was, there's a thing where people start saying that they're non-responsive to creatine. They're creatine non-responders. I was like, that is the dumbest fucking thing I've ever heard in my life. I was like, you take the creatine and it goes into your body. I was like, and it goes to certain places in your body. I was like, that's the response. Yeah. It's like, if you're trying to tell me that you're a non-responder to, that's like saying I'm a non-responder to food. Or like, I'm a non-responder. It's like, well, how are you quantifying that? Are you saying because my 1 rep max on my bench hasn't gone up 2.5% that I'm non-responsive to creatine? I was like, this is like fucking crazy. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Anyway, so yeah, non-responders, that was a new one. I was like, wow, okay.
Yeah, I think it tends to be just something that, yeah, I just wish it wouldn't be so overcomplicated because, like you said, it's just so simple to just know the basics. Like someone asked the other day, what's the biggest amount of citrulline that I should consume? And I said, well, to be honest with you, I don't really think they've done a study on, you know, if you take 15 gram of citrulline, you'll be sat on the toilet for this amount of time and you'll be shitting this amount of poo. Like, that's not a thing they're going to research. Yes, they might say there's a little bit of discomfort in 5 out of 10 people in, 10 grams upwards. Just try it yourself. It's not going to be too dangerous unless you don't go like, I don't know, 1,000 grams. But just try it, see what works for you, because you could be fine with 20 gram, whereas it could give me shits while I'm stuck on the toilet all day. Like, it's also dependent on the person, and we try and get that across. And a lot of people do listen, don't get me wrong, they do. And that's great to see because recently I did a post saying, if you are going to ask me what is the best this and this, it's going to be so different. So come to me with a question, but say, I am Dave, I am 32 years old, I work 9 till 5, I'm allergic to this food, this and this, what do you think is the best this for me? Now that, I think, is something we can work on because we can go, okay, judging on what you're doing, I don't think you need to be spending big money because you're not a professional. I don't think you need to be having this in there because you're allergic to that. And I just think that helps us a bit to the point where we can narrow it down to at least 2 or 3. And funnily enough, within a day, I had at least 10 people come to me with like a life story about themselves. Right, I was like, okay, I don't need to know when you go into the toilet and stuff, but they were like coming to me like, oh, at 1 p.m. I went to the toilet and I really enjoyed it. And I'm like, this is not what I've asked for, but okay. But it was better to see. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's like when I say there is no best, there is a best, right? But you have to figure out.
Yeah, your best.
Like when people say to me, they're like, well, what's the best, fat burner? And I'm like, the best fat burner could be a protein shake. It could be a sleep aid. It could be a anti-cortisol product, or it could be a jack you up through the roof crackhead fat burner. We don't know because what is it? What it's all about? Like someone on the Supplement Snoop group asked yesterday. We went into this at best. They even said, they were like, well, what's the best fish to eat to gain mass? And someone right away, rightfully, was like, I of course was like, there's no best, just as a joke. But someone was like, well, whatever fish you can eat the most of.
Yeah, exactly.
To get to that. And I was like, exactly. And now we don't know which one that is yet. Because I remember like always trying to eat like tilapia and stuff like that. I was like, this stuff is disgusting. There's no way that I could adhere to this diet.
Exactly, yeah.
Long term enough. So it's like, well, whatever combination, it could be a combination of 10 different things that's the best fat burner.
Exactly.
Or it could be an actual fat burning product that some people, if you have a routine sort of in place, you might be able to tweak it a little bit and that becomes the best. But it's like, there is a best, but it is just not what people expect.
Yeah, exactly,
So there's,
No, I agree 100%. So yeah, I mean, we've hit over an hour and anyway.
Didn't we have nothing more? We're like, what are we going to talk about? Like, do we have enough content for this?
Yeah. So we've talked about 0 things we plan to. Well, we've done like nearly 1, but anyway, I don't know why that surprises us because it's going to be the same every time. But
next week.
I think, to be honest with you though, like you say, like I actually think this episode has been quite themed. It's been based on people that want to start their own business and the places that they're going to fall short. And I think it's going to be quite a help to some people, hopefully. But yeah, as you say, there's always next week. So yeah.
I'll be here.
What are you doing today? Have you got your podcast with?
We got Supplement Engineer podcast. We had actually had a couple new clients start this week, so it's always pretty intense when we onboard someone. It's also another reason why we don't take in a lot of clients is because the first couple of weeks are usually pretty intense with what we're trying to do. Trying to formulate a plan and stuff like that. So
are they brands or stores mainly?
Brands actually this time. So, which is it's always fun because we work with a lot of brands and there's things that we find ourselves saying to everyone, but not really. Yeah. It's like everyone is just unique, man. And it's like, that's why I hate to see all these template approaches and that's why it don't work.
Right. Okay. So is there anything, and obviously you can't say exactly what, but Is there any cool ones that potentially are looking to come over to us?
Actually, yeah. That's
Yeah.
kind of usually the initial conversations we're having is because we'll talk to brands. Some of them haven't started yet, which is always good for us because we're like, okay, cool. We don't have to
Yeah.
undo
Yeah.
anything. But a lot of brands have gone down a route that didn't work. So now what
Yeah.
do we do? So
That's
when
a
we
funny
talk
one,
to them,
actually. That's a really funny one, just before you say the
yeah,
guy that I started working with, the young lad, he asked me that question. He said, okay, so what's best for me to do right now? Because he had some products out.
mm-hmm,
And he says, do I just, and this, he actually came up with this himself, which I loved. He said, shall I just bin all my products and not
mm-hmm,
risk selling them anymore because they're going to look so bad? I said, yes, 100%. If you can afford to do it, or if you can put them on the sly to someone for a bit of cash without
right.
making a big fuss about it, your brand will be better then. But yeah, that's what I wanted to say.
Yeah, because sometimes and that's why we like to get people earlier in the process because there's so many decisions that you make early on.
Yeah.
And one brand that I'm really excited to work with this week too, because they have a lot of potential. But one of the early conversations is we have with people, and this even goes back to the initial conversation Prady and I had before he came on board with me.
Yeah.
Because he was like, Justin, like, how attached to what you're doing are you? Because if you're not willing to bend or take my advice, then what are we doing? Kind of thing. So it's like when we talk to this one brand that we're going to work with has a ton of potential. They make some cool stuff, but as we talk to them about retail and stuff like that, it's like, well, are you willing to give up this passion direction that you're going in order to make? And we don't want people to stop what they want to do.
Yeah.
But if you say, kind of like the brand we were talking about earlier that wants to sort of be in your stores, but it's like we have to tell that person that if you want to be in Danny's store, you can't do what you're doing.
Yeah.
But then it's up to you. It's like, what do you want to do? We don't want you because everyone always says, well, I don't want to water down my formulas. It's like a lot of formulas you actually make them better by taking some things out sometimes. But it's like, we just let them know this is the facts. If you want to make this product, you will never be in Danny's store.
Yeah.
So now you make a decision on what you want to do, and whatever that decision is, will help you get there. Kind of thing. You don't want to be, you don't want to make people do something they don't want to do, but you just give them the facts, and then you have to let them sort of make that decision.
No, definitely. Sounds good. Cool. Yeah. Well, we'll round this up, and I'll catch you next week then, buddy.
All right, man. I'll be here.
See you in a bit, bud.
All right, see you.